I'm Paul Grossier from the Best Sports Blog. Let's break down the Charlotte Bobcats coaching hire in the lead up to the NBA draft, which was, to say the least, questionable. I'm from Chicago and the biggest Michael Jordan fan imaginable. However, this is one of those decisions as an executive that you just have to question. The Bobcats had a lot of choices for their head coaching position, so it's interesting that they chose this one. Apparently, Jerry Sloan, who of course was the early front runner and was quite a special head coach, as everybody knows, took himself out of the running toward the end, so it's understandable that the Bobcats had to go to another direction. But they did have a few other options, so it's really interesting to see they go with Mike Dunlap, who is not somebody who has a lot of experience. He is a guy who has assistant coaching experience with the Denver Nuggets, which is impressive, and he got a glowing recommendation from George Karl. And he won two NCAA Division II national titles at Metro State in 2000 and 2002 before becoming essentially a career assistant coach and ending up at St. John's. So he's really an interesting guy because he has a reputation as an X and O's coach who understands the game, who understands the mentality, who can talk to players and get something out of them, which he proved at the D2 level. And he did have some success in NBA players as an assistant, but he has no head coaching experience, no real resume above Division II outside of being an assistant. So it'll be really tough to see if a credible NBA team can take him seriously. Of course, the Bobcats aren't a credible NBA team. They're a young group of near college kids who won 7 games last year. So it's really interesting to see whether or not that makes a huge difference. Will they, as a result of being really young kids, not buy into a coach who can't scare them and put discipline into them, or will they grow with their coach who's growing with them and achieve something? That can go in either direction. For the Bulls, they had mixed success with that when they hired Vinny Del Negro to coach a young team. Obviously, there have been a lot of circumstances in the past where it was a failure, particularly a guy whose greatest success came not at the college level in NCAA tournament, but in NCAA Division II, which is quite a far trip from the NBA. Now, why did they make this hire? Perhaps Dunlap impressed them later on in the interview process. Even though he was considered not an original finalist, perhaps their top candidates backed out and they needed to save face. It's also possible that he came in as one of the most affordable, which is of course a nice way of saying dirt cheap options available to them. Obviously, Jerry Sloan would have been extremely expensive, and then he took himself out of the running. And then the other candidates for the job also would have cost at least $2 million a year, most likely, to become the coach. It's possible that Dunlap will cost far, far, far less than that. And the Bobcats, seeing as they are fielding a terrible team, will look to save some money. So, was this a money-saving hire? Was it a hire because Michael Jordan liked him and he coached at St. John's as an assistant? Or was it just a genuine strike of genius that everyone will see when he becomes the next diamond in the rough that was discovered? Who knows? But for the moment, it does look fairly questionable, and it'll be really interesting to see how it moves on from here. Check out thebestsportsblog.com and all our other video podcasts on this channel. We cover almost every major issue in the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, you name it, boxing. So check us out. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.